Hey everybody, it's Ron from Pick Dawgz, and this is Ron's Rundown. We're going to go over the MLB games scheduled for Tuesday, May 10th, 2022. Now, if you like what you see, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to leave a comment down below with what your baseball picks are for Tuesday. If you're looking for my best bets, you can find those at the Premium Picks tab at Pickdawgz.com. I'm running a daily $15 MLB best bet, so check that out at Pick Dawgz Premium. Alrighty, here we go. Here are the games for Tuesday, May 10th. First up, we see the Oakland Athletics taking on the Detroit Tigers. This will be a doubleheader on Tuesday. The first game, the Athletics will act as the home team at Comerica Park, and then the second game, the Tigers will be the true home team in that spot. Now, in Game 1, we have a pretty good amount of information, at least as far as starting pitching goes. Tariq Skubal and Frankie Montas will be the starters. The line's already out for this game. We see Detroit slight favorites, and the total is set pretty low at 6.5. But in Game 2, we don't have a lot of information right now. It's exactly why we put pitchers and odds subject to change on the screen, because we could see a number of pitching changes and scratches for Game 2. But in Game 1, I do like the under. I think both pitchers are pitching well this season. Both lineups not the strongest. Tariq Skubal, a 3.04 ERA. Frankie Montas, 3.44 ERA. Skubal coming off a start in which he only gave up two earned runs against the Astros in 6 innings of work with 9 strikeouts. I think he's pitching well. And on the other side, Frankie Montas, maybe other than Paul Blackburn, has been the sharpest starter in this rotation this year for the A's, coming off a 7-inning shutout performance against the Tampa Bay Rays with 6 Ks in that one. So I think I like the under in Game 1, and I'm going to take a slight lean to the over in Game 2. The projected starters that I see right now, Zach Logue and Joey Wentz. That could certainly change before first pitch, so make sure you're checking your websites. But both guys I can't really trust. They're both younger pitchers. Zach Logue is a lefty, 26 years old. He's pitched 6 1/3 innings this season. He only has a 2.84 ERA, but 4.26 walks per 9 and a 2.84 home runs per 9 gives him an 8.04 expected ERA. I do think he is in trouble. On the other side, Joey Wentz, a guy that's going to strike out a lot of batters. He's done that in the minor leagues, but he also is susceptible to the home run ball and the walks. We've seen 4.6 walks per 9 out of him in the minors in AAA Toledo. Also 1.8 home runs per 9. That's in AAA. Now he's making the move up to the majors. Might be tough for him to produce good numbers early on. So I'm going to take the under in Game 1 and a slight lean to the over in Game 2. Next up, we see the Milwaukee Brewers taking on the Cincinnati Reds. Hunter Greene and Freddie Peralta are your starters in this one. Now, in my opinion, I think Peralta and Greene are pretty similar starting pitchers. They're both guys that are going to be able to rack up a good amount of strikeouts, but where Hunter Greene has struggled a lot more than Peralta this season has been the home run ball. Freddie Peralta's only given up 1 home run this season. He's run into some issues with the walks this year, but he's pitching really well as of late, and I do like him in this spot against the Reds. Hunter Greene, last time out, gave up 5 home runs and 8 earned runs at the Brewers in a 10-5 Milwaukee win. I can't trust him in this spot. I think he has a very bright future. I mean, he had 7 strikeouts in 2 2/3 innings of work in that start. So he's able to miss bats, but when teams make contact, it's been pretty ugly for Greene. He has a home runs per 9 over 4 right now, which is it's astonishing to me. He's already pitched 20 2/3 innings, so 10 home runs in 20 2/3 innings. Really scary. I think he's going to be a lot better in a couple years in his career. He's only 22 years old, so don't give up on him yet. But in this spot, I don't think it's the best spot for him. So give me the Brewers on the money. Next up, we see the Los Angeles Dodgers taking on the Pittsburgh Pirates. Tony Gonsolin and Bryce Wilson are your starters. Now, Bryce Wilson has surprised me in his last few outings. He really struggled at the start of the year for the Pirates, but his last 2 outings, 7 2/3 innings combined of shutout baseball with 10 strikeouts, 1 walk allowed, no home runs allowed in that stretch, only 3 base hits allowed as well. He's pitching really well for this Pirates rotation. His bats weren't really able to back him up, and we've seen the Pirates offensively struggle as of late. I do think this is going to be a lower scoring game. When you look at Tony Gonsolin on the other side, 2-0 with a 1.64 ERA this season. Sure, the strikeouts aren't as high as where I'd want him, 18 Ks in 22 innings, but a 1.09 whip. He's only given up 1 home run this entire season, only 2 walks combined in his last 9 innings of work. And I think this game is going to go under the total. I think the total is a little bit too steep for me. So give me the under in the Dodgers Pirates. In our next game, we see the New York Mets taking on the Washington Nationals. Tylor Megill and Patrick Corbin are your starters here. I do think there is some value on the dog in this spot. You look at Patrick Corbin, on the season he's really struggled overall, but his last 2 outings, 14 innings, he's only given up 5 earned runs, he's had 11 strikeouts, hasn't given up a home run, and only 2 walks allowed as well. he is improving as the season's carried on. And the Mets, they're top 5 in baseball against righties in team OPS, but 24th in the league in team OPS against lefties. So they really have not hit lefties well at all this year. With Corbin being a lefty, I think it's going to be a difficult matchup for New York. On the other side, Tyler McGill, he was razor sharp to start the season, but in his last outing gave up 3 earned runs and 2 walks and a 9-2 Mets loss. And I think the Nationals bats, we've seen them improve a little bit as the season's carried on. And I think this is a spot where I'm going to take the run line with the dog in this spot at home. I think it's going to be a close game. I think the Nationals have a chance of winning it outright. But just in case of a Mets 1-run win, I'm going to take the 1.5 with the dog. Next up, we have the Toronto Blue Jays taking on the New York Yankees. Yusei Kikuchi and Luis Severino on the mound for this contest. Now, it seems like Yusei Kikuchi pitches against the Yankees each and every start that he has this season. This will be the 3rd time he's facing them this year. His first outing gave up 2 earned runs, 3 total runs, in 3 1/3 innings, 1 home run, 2 walks. His last outing, which was against this Yankees lineup, 6 innings, 1 run. It was a home run, 7 strikeouts. So much improved in that last start, but I'm still not sure I can trust him here. I know the Yankees bats have gone a little cold lately. Only 1 run scored in Monday's game against the Rangers. But I still think with Luis Severino on the mound, who has pitched well this year, an expected ERA in the 2s, I think the Yankees are the play for me. It's not the best price at home, but the Yankees have been killer at the Yankee Stadium this season. Blue Jays, not so much on the road. They're just at 500 at 7-7 on the road this season. Give me the Yankees on the money line in the Bronx. Next up, we see the Boston Red Sox taking on the Atlanta Braves. 2 pitchers that are off to great starts this year, and Garrett Whitlock and Kyle Wright going at it. Kyle Wright, I would say both of these guys have had really big surprise starts to the season. Kyle Wright has struggled in his major league career up until this year, but now he's got a 1.74 ERA, 2.07 FIP, double-digit Ks per 9. He's off to an incredible start for the Braves. While Garrett Whitlock, last time out, 9 strikeouts in 5 innings. He's got a 1.25 ERA, 29 strikeouts in 21 2/3 innings. I think it's going to be a pretty low scoring overall, but in terms of taking a side, I just got to take the Braves in this spot. The Red Sox bats have just gone ice cold. Even at Fenway Park, we saw them really struggle offensively against the White Sox. The pitching staff did a good job at holding the White Sox bats down. They only scored about 3 to 4 runs per game, but the offense just was not there at all. And I think the Braves are the better side for me. So give me Atlanta at a pretty decent price. This game will be on national TV at TBS. Give me the Braves on the money line. Next up, we see the Houston Astros taking on the Minnesota Twins. Justin Verlander and Joe Ryan going at it here. This is a pretty interesting matchup. We see one of the best pitchers in this generation, a veteran in Justin Verlander, going up one of the up-and-comers in Joe Ryan, who's off to an incredible start for the Twins, a 1.63 ERA. But hey, Verlander still got that 1.93 ERA. Should be a great matchup here, but I still think getting the price that we are getting with Verlander, I got to take the Astros on the money line. I think Verlander is the better option on the mound here. Joe Ryan relies on a lot of fly ball outs, which, as long as the ball's staying in the park, you really can't go wrong. But it is a little bit concerning to see how much he is reliant on those fly ball outs. Justin Verlander is in great form after that injury that he faced a couple seasons ago. 0.7 whip, 31 strikeouts in 32 2/3 innings. And like I mentioned, that 1.93 ERA. He's just a guy that can go out in the mound and give the Astros a great chance to win any ball game that he pitches in. And I think the Astros win this game as well. So give me Houston on the money line on the road. In our next game, we see the St. Louis Cardinals taking on the Baltimore Orioles. Now, we should see Kyle Bradish on the mound for Baltimore. We don't have an official starter out quite yet for the Cardinals, but seeing Bradish on the mound, I do like the matchup here with the Cardinals against Bradish. Bradish has struggled quite a bit this season, 5.4 ERA. He's only had 10 innings of work, but only 5 strikeouts in his first 2 outings. He's given up a 1 home run in each of his first 2 starts this season, and he's given up 11 base hits, 3 walks as well, giving him a 1.4 whip to start the year. I know the Cardinals are a lot better against lefties than they are righties, but I do think they get to Bradish in this spot. And we've seen the Orioles really struggle away from Camden Yards this season. 3-10 on the road this year. They actually have a winning record at Camden Yards, 9-7 this year at home, but not very good on the road. And I think that they struggle offensively and defensively in this spot. So give me the Cardinals on the run line. In our next game, we see the Kansas City Royals taking on the Texas Rangers. Now, Brad Keller and Martin Perez are your starters for this contest. And if you would have told me that both pitchers in this matchup had a sub 2.5 ERA at this point in the year, I would have thought you were crazy. But Keller and Perez off to fantastic starts this year. Keller a 1.74 ERA, Perez a 2.25 ERA. and both pitchers are going to be facing each other's weaknesses. The Royals, they're really struggling against lefties this year offensively. Really, overall, they're struggling offensively, but more so against the lefty. And the Rangers haven't hit righties at all this year, ranked 29th in baseball against righties in team OPS. So I don't see a lot of offense in this game. I'm kind of surprised to see the total where it is. Rather than taking the under, though, I think I'm going to take the Royals on the money line here. I think they have the better bullpen, and I do trust their lineup slightly more than I do the Rangers in this spot. You know, the Rangers are really struggling at home. The Royals haven't been good on the road, so really no advantage there. I think just getting plus money in this spot with the pitcher that I do trust a little bit more as well, and Brad Keller, and the better bullpen makes some sense. So give me the Royals on the money line, getting the plus money. Next up, we see the Cleveland Guardians taking on the Chicago White Sox. Cal Quantrill and Lucas Giolito on the mound here. I think this is a big-time pitching mismatch. I know the White Sox haven't hit righties at all much this year, but Cal Quantrill is the type of guy that I do think the White Sox can get to in this spot. You know, Quantrill only 17 strikeouts in 28 innings of work this year. He's had a big issue with the walks this season. In his last outing, you know, the strikeout numbers did bounce up to 7 Ks through 6 innings of work, but he had 5 walks allowed as well. He's given up 8 walks in his last 12 innings of work. And when you put runners on base, you run into some issues, especially when you're pitching on the road. And I know the Guardians have been great against righties this season, but Giolito is the best option the White Sox have in the rotation. He has pitched well for the most part this season, coming off a start in which he went 5 2/3 innings with 10 strikeouts against the Cubs. I like him in this spot, so give me the White Sox on the money line. In our next game, we see the Tampa Bay Rays taking on the Los Angeles Angels. Corey Kluber and Reed Detmers on the mound for this one. I do think both lineups will benefit for the starting pitchers on the mound. I like the Angels matchups against Corey Kluber. I do think the Rays, you know, they've done well against lefties. I think they're going to be able to get to Detmers in this spot as well. I really don't think these starting pitchers are going to dictate this game, but I am going to take a shot with the Angels here on the money line just because they are at home, and I think they have the much better lineup right now. And I think that if this game is close late, although the Rays have the stronger bullpen, the Angels certainly have the better lineup. And playing at home, I think there is some value here because the line is so small. It's a pretty good price with Los Angeles as the home team. So give me the Angels on the money line here in a small lean. In our next game, we see the San Diego Padres hosting the Chicago Cubs. Now, we don't have an official starter for the Cubs quite yet, so we don't have an official line either. Mike Clevinger should be the guy for the Padres on the mound. You know, Clevinger, he had his first start of 2022 after that injury last season, and I thought he pitched okay in that first outing. You know, it wasn't easy facing the Guardians lineup that's number 1 in baseball in team OPS against righties, and he gave up 3 earned runs in 4 2/3 innings. Not the best, obviously, but 4 strikeouts was promising, and I do think he has a much better matchup here against the Cubs. You know, the Padres bats were able to get the run support to win that game against Cleveland back on May the 4th, but I think in this spot they're going to be able to score plenty. If the Cubs decide to go with the bullpen game, I think Chicago is in trouble, especially with where their offense is right now, really struggling. And I like the Padres on the run line here. Not my favorite game on the board, but I'll take a lean with San Diego minus the 1.5. In our next game, we see the Arizona Diamondbacks taking on the Miami Marlins. And we're going to see a pair of lefties going at it in this one with Jesus Luzardo and Madison Bumgarner as your starters. Now, the Marlins have not fared too well against lefties this season, but in that one inning that Bumgarner pitched against them back on May the 4th, Bumgarner did give up 1 solo shot in that first inning. He was ejected after the first inning in Lone Depot Park. And I don't really like his matchup here with Miami either. You know, Bumgarner 1.5 ERA is very solid on paper, but only 15 strikeouts in 24 innings. The walks have been an issue for him, and he's given up at least 1 home run in each of his last 2 starts. And like I mentioned, his last start only lasted 1 inning. Jesus Luzardo on the other side has pitched well for the Marlins this season, kind of a resurgence season this year for Luzardo. Struggled quite a bit in his first few years with the A's and the Marlins, but 3.08 ERA, 35 strikeouts in 26 in the 3rd innings. The Diamondbacks have fared a lot better against righties than they have lefties, especially in their power numbers. They're top 10 in baseball in isolated power against right-handed pitching. Against lefties, they're ranked 21st in isolated power. So I do think Luzardo is the better option here. I think that's the reason why the Marlins are pretty steep favorites on the road. So give me Miami on the money line. Next up, we see the Philadelphia Phillies taking on the Seattle Mariners. Aaron Nola and Robbie Ray as your starters in this one. Now, I do think this is the game that the Phillies have the best chance of winning in this series. The matchups really benefit them, in my opinion. You know, they've done well against lefties this year, top 10 in baseball against lefties in team OPS. And they're facing a pitcher in Robbie Ray that I might be ready to hit the panic button on. You look at his ERA, 4.38, not too bad, but you got to remember, this is the reigning American League Cy Young pitcher. So, it's kind of strange to see his ERA that high. But the thing that really scares me with Ray is his strikeout numbers are way down. He had double-digit Ks per nine, 11.54 Ks per nine in 2021 when he won that Cy Young Award. This year, it's below 8. It's in the 7.54 range. 31 strikeouts in 37 innings. This is a guy known for missing bats. He's not effective when he doesn't miss bats, and that's why we've seen him struggle this season. And if you add in the fact that he gave up a home run last time out, the walks have been an issue at times this year as well. I think he is in trouble in this spot, and until he shows me any kind of signs of life strikeout-wise, I'm going to have to fade him. And Aaron Nola pitched really well last time out against the Mets. I know his team kind of blew that game in the ninth inning, a 7-1 lead gone, and Nola didn't get the win in that game because of it. But I still think he's a much better option on the mound here, and I like the Phillies on the money line on the road. In our final game of the night, we see the Colorado Rockies taking on the San Francisco Giants. Antonio Senzatella and Alex Wood are your starters here. Now, I really can't back Antonio Senzatella in this spot. He's only got 7 strikeouts in 24 innings of work this year, one of the lowest strikeout rates in the league right now. I know he's a Coors Field pitcher and a pitch-to-contact guy, but a 1.88 whip is not going to get the job done. He's given up at least 7 base hits in all 5 of his starts this season, and really, he hasn't faced that tough of competition. Other than his first start of the year where he took on a tough Dodgers lineup, he faced the Cubs, Tigers, Reds, and Nationals following that start. The Giants provide a much more difficult outing in this spot for him, and I do think he struggles quite a bit. So give me the Giants on the run line here as the home team. And that's it. Those are the games for Tuesday, May 10th. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. And don't forget to leave your picks in the comment section below. Again, if you're looking for my best bets, you can find those at Pickdawgz Premium. As always, this is Ron Romanelli. Good luck.